is a deep, dark secret from Coronado's past. So dark that practically no one wanted to talk to 10 News about it, including the mayor.
Well, new at 5, 10 News reporter Joe Little reveals how they may be forced to talk about it if one of Hollywood's biggest stars turns it into a movie.
Coronado is the image of peace and quiet and white picket fences. But 30 years ago, a group of teenagers from Coronado High School became
the Coronado Mob.
They actually called themselves the Coronado Company. Their story may soon become a movie by Oscar winner George Clooney. The company was originally made up of high schoolers who smuggled small amounts of marijuana from Tijuana to Coronado on their surfboards.
You know, go to Mexico, buy the drugs, strap them to a surfboard, paddle north.
Former U.S. Attorney Pete Nunez eventually prosecuted the Coronado Company after it smuggled drugs from 1972 to 1981. The teens started innocently enough.
Small time, you know, a kilo or 2 or 3 or whatever.
Then went international, smuggling from Southeast Asia, even Lebanon.
Ton quantities of drugs back to the United States.
Never dreaming that one day it would turn into a $100 million operation.
Their exploits were even highlighted by 60 Minutes. Mike Wallace came out to Coronado to interview Lance Weber, one of the original kingpins.
Except for the fear of sharks, it was a good, clean fun.
In 1985, Nunez prosecuted more than 60 members of the Coronado Company and won. The original members, all from Coronado High School. The story disappeared there, until now. Word has spread on the internet, Clooney wants to make a movie about the Coronado Company called Coronado High. Yes, there's a play on words there. 10 News spent several hours in Coronado Friday trying to talk to dozens of residents about the movie. Surprisingly, even though the crime happened 3 decades ago, no one wanted to talk about it.
Well, I'm sure it was a scandal in Coronado because a lot of the families were affected.
And soon their story may be the next Hollywood hit. In Coronado, Joe Little, 10 News.
Besides the possible movie, a book is also in the works about the Coronado Company. Coming up on 10 News at 7 o'clock, one of the authors explains how a former teacher from Coronado High School eventually became the leader of the smugglers. George Clooney is considering a movie about how Coronado high schoolers started a multi-million-dollar drug trade in the 70s.
But as 10 News reporter Joe Little learned, not too many people want to talk about the scandal that rocked that community.
It's just one of Coronado's dirty little secrets.
Joe Dittler would know. He was here when students at Coronado High School began a small drug smuggling operation in 1972. Calling it the Coronado Company, the students would buy marijuana in Tijuana and paddle back on their surfboards.
Yeah, it started very small and it grew very fast.
Very fast, expanding to Southeast Asia and Lebanon by 1981, making the Coronado Company very rich. Millions of dollars?
Hundreds of millions of dollars, coast to coast.
The Coronado Mob.
60 Minutes even highlighted the crew after it was finally busted in the 80s.
They came right off the beaches of Southern California and looked as though they'd come right out of a Hollywood casting office.
The high schoolers even recruited their old Spanish teacher, Lou Villar, to translate the early purchases in Mexico. Villar eventually took over the Coronado Company. He was eventually busted too. The story ended in the mid-80s. In 2004, Dittler and his friend began writing a book about the company.
I think everybody wants to read the book. I think everybody will want to see the movie, but nobody really wants to talk about it.
Dittler says the crime haunted dozens of families in the close-knit Coronado. So much so, no one wanted to talk to 10 News, even about Oscar winner George Clooney's interest in making a movie called Coronado High. Get it?
I think it scarred the island forever.
Coronado may have to get over it, especially if Clooney puts it on the big screen. In Coronado, Joe Little, 10 News.
The movie is still just a rumor at this point. The Wrap.com says that Clooney is waiting to see an article written by the same author who wrote an article that eventually led to the Oscar-winning movie Argo.